Welcome back to the Jesse Romero Show. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. I'm having a great conversation with my brother in Christ. We call each other affectionately Frater, which is Latin for brother. Eduardo's a powerful force within the Catholic Church, and he moves in all the circles of influence, which includes our Catholic faith, politics, and culture. Let's continue this conversation.
So how can I change all my friends? They're very young, and we're young, but they're listening to the world. I don't know what to do anymore. How can I change them? And I was like, you change first. And I guarantee, I promise you, that if you really want to become a saint, that you wake up every day in the morning and you are asking God, please help me to be a saint, and you're doing what you need to do to achieve that, more than one will be imitating that. And that's how you change the world. But it's you first. You cannot give what you don't have, right?
That's right. Eduardo, well said. One of the movies that you participated in that was, to me, it talks about the heart and soul of the issue in Mexico, is For Greater Glory. You played an attorney there. And so I'm sure you had to read a lot about La Cristiada. Let me ask you, Eduardo, what's the current state of Catholicism in Mexico today, both in terms of people practicing their faith, kind of some of the challenges that the church is facing? Is there a lot of Protestant, a lot of denominate, las sectas? Is there a lot of Protestant missionaries trying to pull Catholics out? Or are more Catholics falling away just to like indifference, nothingness? What would you see as the biggest problem with Catholicism and the challenge with Catholicism in Mexico today?
Well, that's an important question, and it's not a simple answer, Jesse. It's not a simple answer, We still, I can still say I live in a Catholic country, where the majority still, identify as Catholics. Maybe 80%, I think. Maybe less than that, 75%, 77%. Unfortunately, half of them maybe go to Mass. The other half are more like cultural Catholics. Maybe they go to Mass once a year. I was one of them before. Was going to Mass once a year, and you believe in God, but God is not the center of your life. It's part of your life, but it's not the center of your life. Okay. You pray, but when you feel it, and so you have the seats there, right? But it's more cultural. It's not you're not living with convictions, your faith as the most important priority in your life. Most of the people are cultural Catholics. Our Lady Guadalupe still here. So there is hope. There is hope. And I think this is just challenges that we are facing. It's like es como una etapa. It's a period of time where we are facing a lot of challenges. But let's go back a little bit to La Guerra Cristera, which is the movie that I work and I play the role. And I always say that I give life in that movie to El Beato Anacleto Gonzalez Flores, no? Blessed, how do you say Beato? Blessed?
Yeah, blessed.
Yeah, Blessed Anacleto Gonzalez Flores. Él es el patrón de los laicos in Mexico. He's the patron of the laity in Mexico. Wow. And when I say I give life to him, actually he gave life to me. He's more life than me. And he was called the Gandhi of Mexico because he refused to use violence to conquer and to win. He was murdered. They killed him. I think if they wouldn't kill him, he was going to become the president of Mexico, and would have been amazing. But God had different plans, right? And so since then, Jesse, I don't think right now. I don't know how to say this because it breaks my heart, because I love the church. I'm very proud to be Catholic. I'm Catholic by the grace of God, as I said before. And to see malls full of people, theaters full of people, and then you go to daily mass and you see 5 people here, 7 people there. it breaks your heart. It's like, what else we can do, to change this dynamic, and that's why I started praying the Rosary, because faith is a gift from God, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm praying for the conversion of Mexico, for the conversion of the world, and for my daily conversion, and that's all I can do, and live your life as a testimony, because the best way to evangelize is leading by example. You can say words, but in Spanish, I don't know how do you say that in English. Las palabras mueven, pero el ejemplo arrastra. Las palabras mueven, pero el ejemplo arrastra. So leading by example, it's the most important
that's
thing.
basically it. Lead by example. Yeah, words. Yeah, words have some power, exactly. But the power of imitation, the testimony of life, it really brings people into the bark of Peter, into the net of Christ. Eduardo, yes. The people, the Catholics that went through the Cristiada that 100 years ago, do you think if something like that would happen again today, would there be that type of faith today in Mexico to stand up against a dictator, a despot? And why were the Catholics 100 years ago, would you say their faith was more pure, more simple, more focused?
Of course, man. I mean, think about it. First of all, we didn't have the temptations that we're having right now. I mean, social media, all the indoctrination in schools. I mean, back in the days, just think about it. I mean, 98% of the people in Mexico were Catholics. And you would say maybe 80% were practicing Catholics. So the faith was on fire. And we had back in the days the Mass in Latin, La Misa Tridentina. So, I mean, it was the whole woke movement and abortion, the feminist movement, and all that didn't exist. So of course they were having other temptations, but the people were on fire. People were more Catholic than today.
Okay.
And now, that's the bad news. The good news is that there's a movement. People are waking up every day. And those who are waking up, they want the whole deal. They're all in. And I think this is something that is happening worldwide. It's happening in the United States. It's happening now in Mexico. And it's going to take time. I don't know how much time, but that gives me hope. There's awakening. People want the truth. And especially young people. There's so much young people awakening right now, which is a miracle, because can you imagine, when I was young, I didn't have social media. I didn't have like what young people have today. So I don't know how they do it. But the Bible says where sins abound, grace abounds even more, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of graces right now.
Yeah.
So I think something is happening. Yes, we can face another war. Like the other day, I started this in Mexico. Let me share this good news, Jesse. I was like praying, and I said, you know what? Why don't we do a tour in Mexico, in 32 states? In each state, we do a massive rosary. And we started the first one in Guadalajara this past March 7th, Saturday, en un lienzo charro. It was packed. It was thousands of people who came to pray the rosary for Mexico. And it was beautiful. And this is the first one of 32. So it's going to be like a whole year traveling all over the country, doing these massive rosaries, praying for Mexico, for the conversion of Mexico. And the next one is going to be in Morelia, Michoacan. The first one was in Guadalajara, Jalisco. Second one, again, Morelia, Michoacan, is going to be in April. And then every month is going to be a new state, a new state, a new state, a new state. And that's how you fight this spiritual battle. And I said these words. Today, we are going to start La Segunda Guerra Cristera, the Second Cristero's War. And I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about, guns and fire guns. I'm talking about a spiritual battle with the best weapon that Christians have, which is the Holy Rosary. And that's what we're doing. That's the battle that we're giving right now, And I think after we finish the whole tour, it's going to be a huge movement, a huge awakening. Many priests are coming to pray with us, and we'll see what is. I have hope, because this movement it was inspired by Our Lady Guadalupe. And I believe that Our Lady Guadalupe hasn't finished with Mexico yet. We're going to be very soon celebrating the 500th anniversary of her apparition in el 2031. So I think something big is going to happen in Mexico for good.
Eduardo, I was scratching my head when I saw that you were running for president of Mexico. I said, this guy is so busy in apostolic works, in his production company, in acting and writing, and now he's thrusting himself into politics with everything you have in your plate. You're so busy. What made you decide to say, I'm going to run for president of Mexico? How did that come about?
Well, Jesse, Pope Leo XIII said that for Catholics, politics is not an optional. It's not an optional. It's an obligation. It's a responsibility. It's a commitment. And when I produced the movie Sound of Freedom, when I met these ex-CIA agents in Los Angeles, California, and they shared with me in details what they do, how they travel around the world undercover, rescuing children who were kidnapped for sexual exploitation. And when they share with me the pain that these children are going through worldwide, millions of children, and how many of them, after being raped thousands of times later, they go to the second business, which is the black market of organs traffic. They open them and sell their organs. I couldn't sleep anymore. And when I realized that this is a global problem, especially U.S. and Mexico, U.S. is the number one consumer of child sex in the world. Mexico, because of the location, is the number one provider. So as a Mexican who loves Mexico and United States, I realized, we have to do something here. And I asked, Tim Ballard back in the days, if the U.S. is the number one consumer of child sex in the world, hermano, you have the budget, you have the intelligence, you have the technology, you have the army, you have the police. Why don't we finish this problem once and for all? And he answered, because it's not a priority. Okay, and we're not the solution. Eduardo, we can save 1, 2, 3, 1,000, 3,000 children. Thanks be to God, right? One is enough. 3,000, can you imagine? Amazing. We're talking about millions of children. This is beyond us. This is huge. So how can we turn this into a priority? I said to him, and he said, well, we need to create a movement, a global movement that put pressure in government, so that pressure, we can change the game and make this problem a priority. I said, well, let's make a movie to movement. And that's how we started doing Sound of Freedom. But then later, I realized, Jesse, that one movie is not enough, because the movie opened the eyes of so many people, thanks be to God. The movie, it took us 8 years to put this movie together. But for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, nobody wanted the movie in Hollywood. Nobody wanted this movie in Hollywood because, they were saying the same thing. This movie's never going to sell. It's not commercial. Who wants to see a movie like this? It's too dark, blah, 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 blah. Until finally, Angel Studios show up. They believe in our movie. The movie came out in July 4th against Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, and surprisingly, it became the number one box office film independent in 2023, and it was just a miracle. Hollywood didn't believe in the movie, but the people did. And after the success of the film, as I said, movie come, movie goes. What's next? And that's when I realized, hold on a second. In Mexico, more than 20,000 children disappear every year. Most of them, they're destined to be trafficked in this sexual market, and organs traffic and child pornography, etc. I said, you know what, now that I know all these things, I need to do something. I need to do something. And I was praying and praying and praying, and I was led to, when I saw this window in 2023, in September, for an independent candidate for the president of Mexico. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. At least just to put pressure on the other candidates. At least just to have the attention to talk about this problem, right? And I signed it. And then the communists, they asked me to raise 1 million signatures through an app controlled by them. And the app didn't work very well. So it was designed for an outsider like me never to get in. But I did it anyway, you know. Now, if I knew what I know now, back in the days, perhaps I would never do it. But I don't regret of doing it anyway because of what I learned. And then after that, they blocked me. They didn't let me to compete. And obviously, you know, and because I was exposing them. And, you know, we have a country ruled by the cartels. We have a narco state. And Mexico is being kidnapped by these guys. And people were asking me, you're not afraid? Listen, I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of not doing it. Because in the long term, it's more dangerous. Because people were telling me, it's very dangerous what you're doing. I know it's dangerous, but it's more dangerous not doing it in the long term. And at the end of the day, it's not about me. I felt like this is a calling. And I put pause in everything that I was doing, Jesse. It was not easy because at that time I was very successful in my career as a filmmaker. And it was many other movies that were on the table for me to produce. And I canceled everything. I give my word to God. And even if I lose everything, including my own life, well, God knows that I'm doing this for Him. So I love God, I love my country, I love Our Lady Guadalupe, and I'm willing to die for my country. And I'm willing to die to protect the children of Mexico. And I'm willing to die to protect the families of Mexico. And I think, you know, we can do so much good, you know. First of all, end abortion. You know, they're killing babies in Mexico every day. They're sacrificing children in Mexico every day, babies that they cannot defend themselves. And I know that if we go there and we win, we can end all that culture of death. You know, we can turn this country again to a pro-life country. I mean, Our Lady Guadalupe came here to end human sacrifice. And it's una blasphemia. I mean, how insulting it is that in the land where she appeared pregnant, they're killing babies every day in the womb. And it's growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and more. And I believe that that's the reason why we are a country that is becoming a very dangerous country. Because God is allowed these demons to come out and to destroy our country. And I know that when we finished the culture of death here in Mexico and we eradicate abortion, it's going to be a new beginning. You know, yeah. It's going to be va a haber un renacer. ¿Cómo se dice renacer?
Yeah, a rebirth, a renewal.
Rebirth in Mexico, yeah. And I want to be part of that movement. And then in 2025, we tried to put together a political party. And again, it was impossible, because the electoral law is designed for people like me not to get in, you know. But nonetheless, I did it anyway because, again, we give the battle, only God gives the victory. And I know God will do something unplanned. I don't know when, but it's going to be soon. It's going to be a Catholic president with a Catholic, team, and they're going to change the game. And I want to be part of that, this movement. And maybe for me right now, it's only to work in this movement. So later, a young leader will be inspired of this movement, and he's going to be the one who will change the game. Again, it's not about us anyway. It's about serving God, being faithful to God. He's in control, and I believe that it's going to be a new birth in Mexico very soon.
Eduardo, I think God has you in the right spot right now. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Eduardo Verástegui as much as I did. It was pure red meat Catholicism. This is the Jesse Romero Show. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends and family. Stay vigilant, stay faithful. Remember, let's make sure that this Lent we're doing more prayer, more fasting, almsgiving. This can make a real difference. We'll see you next time. Keep the faith. Hey, family, my name is Jesse Romero. This is my favorite book that I've written out of about a dozen that I've written so far, Lord, Prepare My Hands for Battle 2.0. You can pick up this book on my website, jesseromero.com. I'll tell you the meat of this book. It's on page 34, How to Live in a State of Sanctifying Grace. I basically give you, right from the Bible and the Catechism, 12 ways to make sure you're tracking towards heaven. If you want to get to heaven, this is the book you need to get, page 34. It tells you exactly the stairway to heaven. God bless you. Keep the faith. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with my latest content. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop us a comment or question. For more resources and to connect with us, visit jesseromero.com. Until next time, God bless you and keep the faith.